will start the meeting, they'll get here at some point.
Wow, that's great.
First of all, this is the last formal meeting of this committee. And Councilman Bigliotti and I have been working on the final draft and will continue to work on it after this meeting based on the comments and presentations that you all give me. Okay, with that, we'll move on. Barbara, since you started.
Well, I had my meeting with Bobby Joe, I think on Friday the 19th. And I asked her what type of billing we're using now, and of course she said the postcard. Excuse me. Then I asked her how soon, if ever, we might have a new system, and she said they're reviewing 4, and they hope to have a decision in 2016. And I said, can the citizens pay on a monthly basis? And she said yes, and I said, do they have to request it? And the answer was yes. And they have to prepay before the bill, not after the bill. And if the bill is $75 for the 3 months period, they would be paying $25 a month. And the second fee would be $30, and it's only a one-time thing. It isn't 30 every month, it's just 30 for that 3 months period that's added to pay it in a monthly fashion. And I said, how could we get this out to the public, this information? And we went back and forth, we talked about what's put on the front of the Taneytown newspaper, and it goes out on stickers and on bills and on the door. But this morning I woke up and got an idea for a new way, a new format to put it on the front of the newspaper, because I feel that putting it out the same every time, people pick up the paper and go to the next page. So we'll see how that turns out, a new format. To ask a question of the citizen, instead of telling them, ask them a question. Do you know you can pay on a monthly basis? That might be an attention getter. And we have 87 homes currently that have water shut off, and 39 of them are not occupied. And they could be either the houses are in bankruptcy, or they're for sale, or whatever. And I said, how can the committee make life easier or simpler for Bobby Joe? And she said, changing to a new billing system would be helpful to her. So, and this is information that we just picked up going back and forth in our talk, that bulk mailing cost Taneytown $813 if we put out a bulk mailing for something. And they had to, and it cost $220 to get this permit, that we have to go to Thurmont to get it, because Taneytown doesn't do bulk mailing. And there were 465 late postcards sent out for people that didn't pay their water bill on time, and that cost $150 to send out the late people, to remind them to pay again. And just as an aside, at the end of it I said, how many employees does Taneytown have? And she said, Taneytown, and this has nothing to do with water and sewer, but I'm always curious. Taneytown has 43 employees, and that includes the mayor and the council members. And that's the end of my report.
Except
Couple comments there, if I can.
the mayor and the council members get like this much.
Couple comments,
They are
Barbara.
still an employee.
Right.
If you join the Taneytown Chamber of Commerce, they have a bulk rate permit already, and all members can use it just at the request of any entity in the town. I joined the Taneytown Chamber of Commerce, so I could mail mailers out under their bulk rate as members. So we don't have to buy a permit as a town. Just walk across the street, use the Taneytown Chamber of Commerce bulk mail. Bulk mail BEMU units are in Thurmont and Westminster.
Well, that's the kind of information we need to pull together to save money and to be more efficient.
I bought the raffle ticket at the last event we had at the Memorial Park, and they said, you should really be a Carroll County Chamber member and a Taneytown Chamber member so you can use the bulk permit.
Is Taneytown City and the chamber, do they have an inter-exchange?
Sure they do.
Yes, somewhat.
All right,
Yes.
who would pass this information on? Just put it in our report?
We could, if you want it in there.
We could include maybe like an addendum with additional information, things that we've discovered, or I'm not sure how.
I don't know that partnering with the chamber for bulk mailing is such a good idea.
If you know anything about the stamps, it's just a permit number. You can't really tell. It says permit number 84, Agora Land.
Oh, we do have
Westminster,
a
Maryland.
relationship with the,
Okay.
Why-
So it really
why
doesn't
couldn't
advertise.
Taneytown get their own bulk mailing?
they do.
Oh, we do have
That's what
that.
she's talking
Wait,
about.
and it's
it
minimal
costs
cost.
800.
Right.
Diane, what was it you were saying?
It costs $200.
I don't think it's, as they say, the juice is worth the squeeze to suggest that.
Well, it's
Like Brad
1,000.
said, it's pennies, and we do an awful lot of mailing.
Well, it seems to me $1,000.
And it's probably been in place since way before any of us were here.
Well, it would be foolish if the chamber has a permit to buy another permit for Taneytown. And if you pennies add up,
But,
Senator Dirksen said a billion here and a billion there, and see, you're talking real money.
I mean, if you insist, we can put it in there. but That's
Wonder
my opinion.
is there any other little cities and so forth or in the county belong to it?
What's that? The Taneytown?
Well, I mean, yeah,
Everybody
this
should join the Taneytown Chamber of Commerce.
government agencies. Can they use that permit?
Sure. If the person who holds the permit is agreeable, anyone can mail from their permit.
But Diane just said that Taneytown has a bulk mailing permit.
Yeah, of their own.
And it costs
She wants to partner with somebody else to
$220
say
for the
what we
permit
pay.
and over $800 for each mailing.
Well, even if we used Don's, wouldn't it cost the same? What would be the difference?
No, the piece rate for a postcard size is only 8 cents and
Yeah, I know.
16.7 cents for a fold up like this. I mail out a mail like this with our permit 84, looks like that. And that's about 16.7, instead of 49 cents a letter. So a bulk mail, if you have more than 250 pieces, it's always the best idea.
Well, we have 2,700 we send out whenever we do a bulk mailing.
So,
Seems
Does
to me that over the course of a year, that would save enough money to think about.
are you saying that these notices are sent out first class? Or is that what you're saying?
No, they're not.
What was can you read again what she said to you?
I
It's
said,
interesting.
The bulk mailing permit costs $220, and any bulk mailing of 2,700 costs $813. And when they sent out 465 late postcards, that cost approximately $150.
So let's say that we took up Don on his offer, what would the difference be?
The $200 that you pay for the bulk
It
mail.
would save you 2 cents per postcard.
On my, on my mailings, I'm saving 16 to 49, so it's 49 minus 16, 33 cents a mail.
Because you'd still have to pay for your actual mailing.
Right,
That's where your money is.
right,
And you still gotta pay it.
right.
Okay, I understand what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, by the math, you would save 1.7 cents per postcard by using the chamber. I don't believe that's gonna have a great effect on your water rates.
Well, I like the thinking, you ought to be on the city council, that's the way we ought to do it. Cut where we can cut,
Okay.
saving where we
Yeah.
can save.
Anything else, Barb?
That's it.
Okay. Okay, let's go back up. We started with Barbara since we were waiting for you all. So now, Gail, you're on.
Thank you. Let's see. Okay, I emailed each of you, I think this is our final meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And so I put together a final report with what I discovered, what my conclusions are. And so, I will just, each of you did receive a
I
copy.
did, I have it with me here, very well done.
Well, as the purpose of our committee was to find ways to lessen the impact of rising water and sewer rates for Taneytown residents, we tried to discover if there were any existing grants and loan programs that we could use. I did research that. I think Robin gave me names. I sent various emails to various programs. I eventually was directed back to Henry, who told me that they have partnered already with DHCD and with USDA, and that funds approximately 87% of the water sewer cost for the improvements. Now, is that 17? It should be 14%. No, it should be 13%. That remaining 13%, please correct that.
I'm doing that, I have a mistake too, so.
Sometimes I'm not a good mathematician, especially at night. But that remaining 13%, I think also, if I am remembering what Henry told me correctly, also includes some costs for past programs such as installing new sewer pipes and water pipes underneath Main Street. Okay. And it also includes a portion of the new program which has been mandated by the state. Okay. That percentage is being passed along to residents. Okay, and it does amount to a hefty, rise in water sewer costs. But we haven't been able to discover any program which would mitigate that 13%. The only thing that I have discovered is that DHCD has something called an indoor plumbing program. And I provided you with the details of it. The staff, Taneytown staff would be the ones to administer the program per DHCD, because you don't want citizens doing it. We would originate the loan applications and we would submit them to DHCD. It would provide some savings. There's no doubt about that. In addition, if the town can generate enough interest in the program, the residents can then possibly benefit from a price reduction. I think I presented that to you at the beginning of the committee meetings. Of course, it's not cast in stone, but it could help. So they could also possibly benefit from a price reduction, assuming that all of the items were purchased through Lowe's at one time. So that's your dependency. Okay, my conclusion was that, in my opinion, Taneytown has used the grant and loan programs at their disposal. And what is left is only the above program, the IPP program. There may be other such programs, but we've only had a limited time to research, so it may behoove the city to look for other such programs. My recommendation is that this program be publicized to residents, and that it be made available for up to 2 billing cycles, that these plumbing packages, that once you have the number of people, you then go to Lowe's and say, I want to purchase this many. Okay, and I'm not saying you do this, there's an order that this is gonna have to be done so that the money doesn't come out of Taneytown's pocket. Okay, so in other words, you would have to originate the loans, present them to DHCD, get the loans or grants, and then go to Lowe's, if we were gonna do it that way.
For what?
Huh?
For what?
For water saving devices. That may be a little more difficult. It may be easier just to go ahead and do it piecemeal, one at a time. But the other thing is that if WRF is cheap enough, we may actually be able to use them because they are local in Taneytown, So I believe some of their, monies could come back to us. I recommend that the town administer the program and originate the grants and loans as recommended by DHCD, and that they employ by contractor part-time and experienced loan originator.
Can you tell us about the final sheet or after your
The final sheet.
Yeah. What should we see on that?
Okay, those that were eligible would be single-family, owner-occupied, and rental properties with 1 to 100 units which do not have indoor plumbing. The properties, that's something else.
Yeah, what is that? What do you mean that do not have indoor plumbing? Is that all this is for?
No, I don't think so. No, not when I
It
talk.
says eligible types of housing.
I know, but if you go on, it would be for income eligible households. And I did ask about that, the following improvements that help provide indoor plumbing. If you go down to loan terms, wells, septic tanks and drain fields, piping, connection fees and assessment, plumbing fixtures and equipment, including handicap fixtures, that's what we would need. Additions, modifications, and alterations provided to provide private space for toilet and bath facilities. And we may very well want some further clarification, but I believe that when I
This
talk to
sounds
Cindy
like
Stone-
it would apply to, we've had situations in the past where people
Right.
have had septic tanks, issues with septic tanks, and, it was 1 or 2
Right.
people.
Right.
And that sounds like what this is for. This is not for the bulk of the people that we're dealing with here.
Well, now this is,
Everybody has some kind of indoor plumbing.
yeah, when I talked to Cindy Stone, she said, and Kendra Harmon recommended this program, so I guess further clarification.
Yes, it is.
But this is about the.
I can think of maybe 2 incidences in my 6 years where this would have applied.
No, that's not what she said.
To
That these
resident
programs
here.
are available to income eligible,
They
not
are,
just
but-
no plumbing.
but-
She corrected that.
Well,
No,
it
but
is-
online it's to no plumbing.
It's to no
So
plumbing.
that needs
This
further
doesn't apply to the
clarification.
people we're here for.
When I talked to Cindy Stone, she did not tell me that it was for people with no plumbing. But that's something that we could, that should be clarified further. And if it is indeed, for,
Including handicapped people.
yeah, but that's still, it still needs further clarification. Cindy did not mention to me that it needed to be strictly for no plumbing. So all I can say is, if the program is available, we should check and see with further clarification. And if that's possible, then we should proceed.
Okay.
Is it possible to obtain that clarification before next week's meeting?
Sure, we can
And
just
then-
call.
Okay, and then if you could email me.
Yeah,
It's just
and
this piece
email
of paper is not the
Joe and
right
I.
one to put in the packet, that's all. It's, it should be one that includes the income eligible
Well-
portions and the handicap portions. Because I know there's grant money available for what you're doing.
Well, then then we'll have to find it. It might be, we'd have to go through, Department of the Environment then. That's a possibility, but it takes a little further research. And, I mean, these are just fine.
Can you get the answer to that,
I will do that.
just that question?
Yeah.
So we will know what, if anything, to include in the pack. Okay.
That's great.
Anything else?
No, that's about it. It was kind of frustrating to go around in circles and then find out that we had already used the DHCD money and everything. So that kind of was a little bit, I probably could have spent time on something else, but it is what it is.
It's good work. You've done a great job. There is grant money available to conserve water to better.
There is, and
Yes.
I think that it further behooves the town to go through the, I don't know whether it would be the Nature Conservancy or the Department of Environment or what, but it's possible that we could do that.
Okay.
I think that was something on my list that I didn't get to.
Don?
Yes. Just want to make a point about Barbara's report that's come to mind since you spoke. You've done a great job, Barbara, on this. The thing that's so offensive about the monthly payment proposals from staff is that you have to pay ahead before you get the bill in the mail. So how do you know how much you owe until you do that? We went from a $200 water bill to an $800 water bill all in one quarter. How did that happen? We don't know how that happened. So the thing that we proposed initially was that we'd have a waiver of these fees for folks that are trying to pay off a water bill to avoid a shut-off. That was voted down by the council. There'd be no amnesty for people who have fees to pay. The fee is 10% if you don't pay. And I got the bill, this is what I did at the horrendous bill that we got. I came in and paid from my paycheck $300, which is all I could pay for water. And then when I got the next paycheck the next week, I paid another $300. Then I got the next paycheck, I paid another $300, which paid the bill. We didn't eat the same, but we certainly did pay the water bill by the shut-off date. But we were still charged a 10% fee for that. So what we asked the staff and the council to do was to make it so when people get their water bill and they cannot pay it, that they would be able to pay installments before the shut-off date. That's what we asked the council to do, and they're not willing to do that.
With a different billing system?
Yeah.
Well, changing the billing
You're doing
system
it.
will not help the fact that the rates are so high.
Well, it's the batteries running out and estimating that created most of these problems. And by taking care of getting these batteries up to date and using the past history of someone, of their water use, it'll take a little time of your battery working correctly and getting a history, at least 2 billing periods. And once there's a history, that can be divided by 12 to determine what your monthly bill is.
I don't think anybody misunderstood the request to allow people to pay off their bill in monthly installments, but that's not what was allowed. So I wanted to bring that
Well,
up
that's
under your
what-
report.
Okay, that's
Sorry.
If you want to treat it like a bank and put money in ahead of time before you get your bill, how do you know how much money to put in since the rates are so
You get the money
variable?
back
Well, you
if
just
don't
have to
get
do
it
it.
Are
back.
you going to allow,
It's,
Yeah, what's the
Madam
big
Chairman,
deal
are you
on
going to
this?
allow the audience, you said at the beginning in the rules of this meeting that the audience could speak at the end of the meeting.
Go ahead, Don, what with your conversation.
I did produce a final report. I have the same frustration that the other committee members have. We have not gotten all our answers by the deadline date of our last meeting. Today's September the 29th, and we've come to a close, so we have to come forward with a proposal to do that, to come forward with a proposal. The questions that I gave, everybody get a copy of those? They were well done. They were typed in black and the answers were in red. Do you remember reading?
Yes.
Did you all study that? Read all
I did
that?
not get that.
I have it attached, a revision of it with this report I'm going to hand out. It tells us some facts. You can't make decisions without facts. The good news is that the rates that are high have helped to pay down our debt, and we are moving toward a better situation than we had initially when the Davenport report was enacted. So we're better, financially more healthy because the rates have been high. So here's, they've collected over $2 million with these high rates above the cost. So that's, I saw that in the extensive report as we studied. So I'm going to pass this out and everybody can get a copy of our final report. I just finished it a little bit ago because I had to go back and get all the emails that they get together. All the emails were separate. It's good. So I'll read it to you. There's a graph that shows how you do this, and then we're going to make one recommendation that I think will calm down the general population in the town, some of the injustices that have gone on. It says the final report proposal September 29th for immediate action. Attention Water Sewer Subcommittee. Having reviewed the answers from the town's office, more questions for other matters come forward. You can see that on the final pages. Notwithstanding, some factual findings are undeniable. One action that can happen immediately without any cost to the town is that the water rate and the sewer rate can achieve equity. Instead of paying twice as much for your sewer than you pay for your water, it could be a 1-to-1 ratio like it used to be in the town. Now I'll go through the fiscal part. The water and sewer service fees, if you look at the third page in, you can see that they are found estimated. I circled it on everybody's copy. The water fee estimate for this year is 841. Well, I didn't use that number because actual revenues are less than the projections. They're actually $1.6 million. Okay? So if we would cut the sewer fee to 1/2 of what it currently shows on the bill, we would be able to pay the $1.6 million and actually not cost the town anything. If we'd set up a revolving savings account and put these monies in that account, the revolving savings account could generate the revenues that are necessary to pay all obligations for the sewer plant and the current debt. And I've shown how you do that on this page. And that last word on the first page is to begin. Okay? So if you just study that chart, you can ask questions about it when I'm finished. And on page 2, it says, seeing the clear path on page 1, it's undeniable that immediate relief can be provided by making the water rate and sewer rate the same at the same level. We don't have to have 2 times higher water rate, sewer rate. The great complaint since I've been elected on the council was, how can you charge me sewer when I'm watering the garden? How can you charge me sewer when I pressure wash in the house? How can you charge me sewer when I run in the hose? Or the things I do with water. Mrs. Welker stormed out of a meeting saying she was going to get the rain barrels running and never buy any water from the town again. These are angry people that are coming to the town meeting because it seems so unfair to charge twice as much for the sewer. I know where this came from. It came from the fact that we had to renovate the sewer plant, and that's what generated all the debt. So past folks, no doubt, tried to pay off the numbers at the higher rate. But it's created unintended consequences. That's an aside. Back on my report. Seeing the clear path on page 1, it's undeniable that immediate relief can be provided to citizens, remembering the following: all the revenues that go into a revolving account that would be created, like the restoration fee, the late payment fee, the standpipe rental fee, the internock capacity payments, the interest payments, and the hookup fees for future development, could be put into that account also. Added also would be the water sales amounts. Saving on electric could be added also for renewable energy. We had a proposal for a microgrid where the county is ready to give us a grant to put in solar at our sewer treatment plant. We need to get on board of that. We were encouraged to do so just this week by one of the county staff. Well, before that is done, we could achieve that. So it says also the revenue generating ideas and other operating reduction ideas. Like, what are some other operating reduction cost ideas? What are some other? Can you think of any? Can anybody think of any?
I'll tell you honestly, I'm fairly intelligent, but I'm not following this.
Okay, we'll go.
I don't understand it.
Okay, one would be, for example, to send a letter to MES and asking a proposal for how much it would cost to run our water sewer treatment. Mr. Harkins said to me at MML that we'd be delighted to give you a quote on what it would cost to run your sewer plant, because that's what we do in Eldersburg, and we do all over the state. And so if we wrote the letter correctly, I was very disappointed to hear that a no answer, because if you ask the wrong question, you get the wrong answer.
Now, who was he and what?
He's a former Harvard County executive. He's now the cabinet level secretary under Governor Hogan.
Okay, and what would he be doing?
He'd come and look at our water treatment plant. Barbara just said we have 43 people working for the town. Some of them work in the sewer treatment plant. They would come and give a quote. If they ran our plant for us instead of we hiring our own staff and paying their benefits and pensions and whatever we pay, that they would just run it with the state would run it, because they do it all over the state. For example, they do it in Eldersburg. This department that he's in charge of runs the wastewater treatment plant that provides the water for all of Sykesville and water and Eldersburg. And so they do it all over the state. So there's another
Wait,
idea.
They do it all over the state, or they do it in Eldersburg?
They do it all over the state, but Eldersburg is a Carroll County.
Where else?
Many towns in Central America.
What are the many towns? Where?
I'm not Secretary Harkin. I don't know all the towns.
What did Boehner say this week about false prophets?
Mr. Harkin is the secretary of Governor Hogan. He's not a false prophet. So they obviously could. For example, one idea would be that you could get a quote on that and see if we have any savings. The other would be you could get the solar panels in. Under the idea of a microgrid. And actually, the estimate I have, and I don't have it to present now, but it's going to come before the council under new business in future meetings, and I just warn everybody, is that we could put these solar panels in with state help and then sell money back to the grid and not even pay an electrical bill out there at the sewer treatment plant. These electric panels generate enough electricity that you can make a profit on them. It's a new technology. We ought to be open to it. Now, back on my presentation. Added also would be water sales, if we had increased water sales, saving on the electrical through renewing energies, and other revenue ideas, like selling gray water, for example. We could actually improve the plant so we could fill a truck full of gray water.
Well,
okay? So they might came along, but I don't even... my point today, and I'm not finished with my presentation, but my point today is that it could be a better and rosier picture than this final report does if we continue to work on good ideas. We could do, that's what this paragraph means. It says, in the meantime, the city should develop a front footage fee as used in Eldersburg area of Carroll County government. This would separate operating costs from capital costs. If you're trying to pay down debt, if you take out your operating costs and look for savings there, and take out your capital costs and look for savings there, you can be more clear in the way you communicate and how good ideas fit. We have two basic costs of providing the water that is, and you said in your report, the purpose of this committee is to find ways to lessen the impact of rising water and sewer rates. If that's our purpose, we need to separate these out in our minds. There's operating costs and there's capital costs.
Okay, what are the capital costs?
Oh, the capital costs are the big driver of the high rates. They're the big driver. That's why the rates are escalating so fast.
Specifically, what would be?
16 million is what we were told, but we have $8.1 million in reserves. So we're almost halfway there in reserves. We can't use all those because it will affect our bond rating. But we can do some things to lower the capital costs.
Capital. Am I not correct? I thought capital costs would be those that you could expense.
No, that would be taxation. The capital costs are all the costs of those renovations that generated these high rates, plus other debts that we had were poured into capital costs.
Okay,
So the final sentence, go ahead, Gail.
And the capital costs, and then the other was?
Operating costs, because our staff runs our own water and sewer treatment plant.
Right.
We have in-house people do that.
Right,
Of those 43, many are involved in this.
right.
Okay? So let me read, this is the last paragraph. In the meantime, the city should continue to develop a front footage fee as used in Eldersburg, Carroll County. This would separate the ideas of operating fees from the unavoidable capital costs. We have to pay our bills, like we were told at the senior center when I ran for office. We have to pay our bills, and we have capital costs. Meaning the front footage fee would cover our capital costs, and then service fees could cover our operating costs. So you have to think about it in two ways. We can save money. That's why I love what you said in your report. If we can save $100 here or $100 there, praise God, that's good things. It's our city should continue to explore and build ways to lower our revenues and lower our operating costs. So if you agree with me, and I'm going to show you why you should agree with me, okay? If you go back to the page here, this is the city draft budget. This is page 3 of 5, okay? The city budget, a draft budget that we're currently operating under, shows the water service fee at $1.771841. Well, the costs of running the water sewer operating costs are only $1.6 million. So I believe that we could immediately change the sewer rate. Instead of being twice as high as the water rate, we could immediately change it to 1-to-1.
Where'd you come up with 1.6 million?
1.6 million is the water sewer fee found under utility fund on page 3 of 5. Okay?
I
So-
have 1771, which he said, but I'm trying.
Well, that's an estimate. See, this is, if you look at the top, this is the only paper I could find. It's like your paper that talked about only houses without water, any plumbing. Only houses without any plumbing qualify to these grants. That was the paper you chose to put in your report, but it's not all the data. The data is that low-income people can get help in conserving from these grants.
Just not through that program.
Possibly, yeah.
So just like this, I'm trying to be concise, not take up all morning. So essentially, you have the ability to immediately lower the sewer fee to be equal to the water fee.
Well,
So it's not twice as much.
Yeah.
I think this would solve a lot of the anger in town. I think it would actually effectively lower costs, and it doesn't cost the town a penny to do it because of the reserves and the monies that we have. Now, the next pages reveal another error. Just like your 13% error, I have an error. There are actually 6 pages in this report, even though every page says 1 of 5, 2 of 5, 3 of 5. I realized that putting that paper in would help you, Jackie, understand where that 1.6 figure came from. So I added this one just this morning, and I marked over the following pages. If you see the 3 turned to 4, these are the actual questions that have been updated. We spent a lot of time on updating these questions. If you look at question 2, that's not been answered yet. Question 3, not been answered yet. If we go down through the questions, question 11, 12, 13, 14, not been answered yet. 17, 18, 19, 20, they've not been answered yet. So I know they worked hard on this. The staff worked hard on this, but it's been very frustrating that we couldn't get meetings, we couldn't get a tour of the water sewer plant, we couldn't get answers to our questions. But we got enough answers to know that we can immediately recommend, with the data we have, that the sewer rate would be lowered to equal the water rate, so it's not twice as high. That's my proposal for the committee to take to the city council.
Okay.
And that is one proposal, and that is that the sewer rate would not be twice as high as the water rate, but the two would be in equity. And we make that change immediately and permanently to affect relief for the citizens of Taneytown.
I know that, I mean, I agree that the water sewer rates are high. I mean, mine are high anyway. But I guess I can't remember why the sewer rate is double what the water rate
I think
is.
the reason it was done that way is because that's where the cost came from. That's where the big capital improvement came from. That's where we had to spend so much money to meet the EPA requirements, MDE requirements. So that drove the costs of capital costs up so high. So they raised the sewer rate high because that's where the cost came from. But we don't have to pay it off that way. We can pay off the debt with real revenues. Some of the real revenues, for example, if you look at this page, come from future hookup fees. We just approved 1217, and we actually are going to get connection fees of $14,400 for these new places when they're built. So if you create
$14,000.
$14,400 to connect to the water in Taneytown, that's what it costs.
No, it doesn't. It costs $10,000 for each unit.
That's not the answer to the question. That's not how they answered the question.
When we asked the question, they told us that the rate currently being charged is 14. Let me see if I can get to the question where they answered that question. You can look at it.
That's for a number of things, that's
It's-
not just for water.
It was 16 something, and we subtracted out the other things with
Well,
impact fees.
Yeah, I know there's a
It came down
water
to
sewer
14.4.
hookup fee and an impact fee, and the total was 15,000. I don't know what it is now, it may be more.
Is it number 9 you're looking for, Don?
Number 9 says, what are the hookup fees for new units? $16,020. New unit hookup fees, $14,400. That's where that goes into the utility fund. So I'm not
Okay.
trying to talk about
So
all the
you're just
fees.
saying-
I'm
you're
talking
just
about
saying
what
per
Henry
unit.
Hine and Bobby Joe told us is being charged that goes into the utility fund.
Okay,
I'm
so-
not looking to take money out of other funds.
Okay, so-
Trying not to disrupt the budget too much by having a zero impact.
So basically,
Gain for
you're
the
saying
citizens.
it's 14,000 per unit, not...
Yeah, it says so right here, in page 505, misnumbered. New hookup fees, 14,000 goes into the utility fund.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm saying the
That
utility
could be-
fund, the utility
That
fund.
could be misinterpreted, because if you say 16,000 new hookup fee per unit, I'm only, that's being picky, but it does, you know, it does kind of, you know. do you
Just using the
understand what I'm
data the
saying?
town has given us.
If you just added per unit, that'd be better. So you're saying that we have,
Well, there's future revenues that would go into the
Right.
utility fund.
yeah.
That's
So-
good.
So you're saying that there are, what, 10 units? How many units have been approved to be built?
Maybe Carl, you could tell us. I don't know. the
Right
answer to
now, I
that
think we're
question.
pretty well built out until, the new place out here, what Means
Yeah.
Crossing comes
No.
along.
Meadowbrook
And Meadowbrook
Right.
is
starting construction very shortly.
Yeah,
Right,
With-
so.
Creekside's done.
Right, that's what I'm asking. So we have, so they're gonna be constructing new units, and then the builder has to pay that
Yeah.
water sewer hookup fee.
And there were 25 in 2015, according to the answers.
25.
But the problem that we have today is because we had people figuring more for years. We would figure 35 units per year would be built, and suddenly the world ended and we were building none.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Now, where this 8.1 comes, that you keep throwing around, we don't have that kind of reserve. Nowhere's close.
That's the answer to another question.
That's the answer to another
The
question.
town
We asked that
knows
specific question, Carl, and I'll try to find it here, where we told us we do. Not all those are available. I didn't mean to argue that those are available to do what I'm suggesting today. Some of those things we can.
Now, if we
can refine it. Some
let's
things
say
can-
we take the sewer and we bring it down to the water. What's that going to prove?
It's going
We
to.
still have the money that we have to pay for that situation out there.
You collected $2 million more than you needed in the last year after the rates went up, and so that's gone into general revenue. I want to create a
Now, how about
revolving.
the 2.4 million that the water department owes the general
Owes
fund?
the general fund. We
Yeah,
owe
but we
money
don't, we
back to
set
the
the terms
general
of the
fund.
debts owed to us. We don't have to pay that.
When you get into the business of the new budget, maybe your eyes will open.
It's wide open. Look
Yeah,
at these
it sure
numbers.
is.
You can see these numbers. We could immediately give relief to the citizens of Taneytown by making this injustice go away where the sewer rate is twice as high as water. All these people are using water and that they don't put down the drain, but they've got to pay a double high sewer rate. And we can fix that at zero cost, and I've proven it in this handout.
You've proven
We
it on that paper. You haven't proven it to anyone.
Well, I'm going to vote for it.
Make your suggestion
Yeah,
and let
that's
them bring it up.
Exactly.
I'm going to vote
That's what
for
we're
it.
going
I
to
want this
do.
committee
We're
to
gonna
sign, if you agree with me that if the difference between $1.8 million and $1.6 million leaves a surplus of about $0.2 million.
I don't think anyone's agreeing with you at the moment.
Well, you don't get a
Donald,
vote, so.
Donald, we're going to make your suggestion
Yeah,
about bringing the sewer rate down to the water rate, and then you will get the opinion and the vote of council,
of
okay?
council, that's right.
Yeah, I don't think it'll cost the city a penny based on the revenues we collected already at the higher rate and are projected to
Okay,
pay
fine.
if the Davenport report is not repealed. I made a motion to repeal the Davenport.
We've been through this.
We've been through this.
Sometimes we have to.
That motion was, that motion, yes, yeah,
Guys,
that motion was voted
This is a
down.
useless committee.
That motion was voted down by the council to repeal the rate increases through 2017.
Yes, it was voted down, so let's move on past that.
So now, what we can actually do at zero cost is balance this injustice of the water fee and the sewer fee being twice as high. And we can do it at zero cost because of the revenues
We're gonna put your
projected to
suggestion
grant
in the
and have
report.
already collected and are in the
Okay.
bank.
We will put that in the report.
Does anybody have any questions for me?
No, I don't.
If you agree with me, would you sign this so I can have it and give me a master copy? I'll make this a master copy since we're not allowed to vote on anything in this committee. I'm going to make a
And we're
master.
not signing anything either.
Well, you don't have to sign it. I don't expect you to sign it.
That's a vote, Don, we're not
Okay?
doing
I
that.
want you, if you agree with me that we can do that, if you pass that around and see if we can get some
I
signatures.
cannot-
What's that got to do with anything?
That
Bob?
has nothing
It
to do
still
with
has to go to
anything.
council.
It still has to go to
This
council,
is a
and this
subcommittee of the
committee is
city.
not voting or signing.
That's what you're supposed to be doing, making suggestions. She takes the suggestions to council. We don't vote on it in here.
Don,
We don't sign anything in here.
the difference between 1.7 million and 1.6 million is $100,000. It's not $1 million. It's $100,000.
Did I misspeak? It's a
Yeah, I
small
think you
amount.
did.
If these other fees that are in page 2 of my report would be poured into a revolving account, we could still work on ways to fill that account with other revenues, like selling gray water or lowering our electric
Okay.
costs. That's what I'm trying to say.
May I make a suggestion for your, under your suggestions, let's make these suggestions. Don suggests we sell gray water. That's one suggestion. 2, Don suggests that we use a solar grid. That's the second suggestion.
You don't have the benefit of the report that Joe and I are working on.
No.
We have all of these suggestions.
Yeah, well,
I
Rome
just
wasn't
think
built.
We are pulling it together, it will be emailed to everybody to comment on, okay?
Rome wasn't built in a day. It takes time.
We have all of these things in the report.
I can't, I'm sorry, Don, you know, some of this I might agree with, but I couldn't sign this. I can't. Even though I might agree with some of the things, I just can't sign it.
I think that we could do this change to help people in the town at zero cost to the taxpayer.
Okay, Jackie, you haven't had your,
Well, There are some good questions on the, whatever, 6 pages you put out. There
Yeah,
are some
5 or
good
6.
questions on there. But as a whole, I don't agree with all of them, and I don't think they pertain to us, as I keep repeating, I think every meeting at this committee. If it's further committees, fine, and I wouldn't mind working on down, through the line.
Yeah.
But I'm not signing anything until I see the final report.
Yeah, well, this is our final report about what could be done now to help the people who pay high water bills. We believe that we could immediately balance these two things on future water bills, and we could do that without affecting any other previous decisions of the council. And we could do that at zero cost to the ratepayers and taxpayers of Taneytown.
Well, they can add up, I'm willing to agree if we add up the water and the sewer, the total, and divide it right in half and make them both the same. I'm in favor of that. Do you understand what I said? Right now, we're charging higher for sewer.
Twice as much.
But if you just add them up and divide it in half, people, I think, would understand their bill better. And part of this is people not understanding their bill. When you add up 1/3 and 2/3, you get 100%. Or if you have 50% and 50%, you have 100%. I'm saying add up the 1/3 and 2/3 and then divide it in half for the bill. It would be more understandable to people. I understand that it costs more to buy the chemicals to treat the water. I fully understand that it costs more to run the sewer operation, but the general public doesn't understand it. So if we added the 1/3, 2/3, 2/3 for sewer, 1/3 for water, it makes 100%. Divide it in half. Do you follow me?
I follow you, but then you're insinuating that people use more water than they did.
I'm not insinuating anything. I'm just saying,
Because one is usage and one is like maintenance.
sort of.
It is.
But
So if you add them together and divide it in half, you suddenly put more on the usage side.
I
Yeah,
know,
gotta
but
raise the
people
rates.
would understand the bill. They don't understand when you have to take the time and explain to them that you have to buy chemicals for the sewer plant and so forth.
Well, Barbara, I guess over a period of time, we will just have to try as best we can to educate the people.
It's hard.
It is hard,
It is.
but
And you have
that's
to
what we'll
keep
have to
it,
do.
yes, you have to keep it simple. Okay, well, Don, $100,000 is a lot different than $1 million.
If I
I
misspoke,
didn't say no.
Well, I
think
wrote
said-
the numbers down here. 1,771 is versus 1,620,000. Actually, it's $150,000.
I'm encouraging these other ideas not to end today. These are good ideas that we've discussed in this committee. And it's not really our responsibility as committee members to make responsible fiscal policy for the town. It's the council, and hopefully the staff will work with the council to do so. So I think that more monies could be raised in fundraising, and costs could be lowered by lowering operating costs. So you have to realize we can get better. We can over time get better. We can generate more revenue through, for example, water sales or hookup fees.
We did do something, and it did come out.
Yes.
This was the
So it's
meter.
not as bleak as the fixed numbers that are in these answers, but these answers speak volumes. They are screaming at the town council and the city government to do something to fix the water sewer rates.
I hope they come to the meeting. Because I'm gonna tell you, the last meeting, all the complaints were yours and the one lady, the thin lady that got up and spoke, I don't know her name, but the light white hair, dark glasses. But anyway, the others only complained about the large water bill they got and so on and so forth. Nobody complained about the rates. No one. if my memory serves me correctly. Now, at the first meeting, or the meeting before that, I guess, that so many people came in and complained and et cetera and so forth, I don't think they understood a lot of why the costs were what they were.
Sure.
I really don't.
Well, then they
And
look at
so
this,
they
when I
didn't
put it on
come
the
back.
Facebook, they'll understand.
And once they got some understanding, and so we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, Jackie.
But I wanted to see how many, what was their complaint?
Right. Well, I'm
And
not
when they start
complaining. When I
calling-
speak up at council meeting, I have a better mousetrap. I build a better mousetrap, and the old saying says, if you build a better mousetrap, people will run to buy it. And so this is just not, I'm not complaining. I'm offering a way out of our dilemma. I'm not complaining.
And that's good.
Okay?
Nobody's finding fault with that.
Well, I don't want to say I'm a complainer. I'm not complaining. It's just that we are trying to get answers to the questions so we can get out of this at the least harm to Taneytown and most benefit to Taneytown citizens. That's why Joe and I have
Absolutely.
worked so hard. Joe, do you
Joe, do you
see?
have anything? Everybody else has weighed in several times.
Well, very briefly to the point that Jackie made about people coming to the meetings, they may not necessarily understand the water and the sewer rates, but the fact that they have to pay them, I think, certainly gives them the earned ability to complain, but not complain about them, but to voice their concerns about them.
I understand that. I agree.
And then the other thing is that I'm sure you probably mentioned being in the meeting. Diane and I are going through the final draft of the report, and over the next day or two, we'll email you the final version. And the sooner anybody can comment on it, critique it, the better. So, and that's all I have.
Thank you.
I don't think that numbers in what I presented will make any sense unless in your final report. The numbers that we've given in that front page, at page 1, I'd like to see go to the council where they won't understand why it doesn't cost the town anything to lower that rate because of the current revenues.
We can include them as an addendum to the end, like we did with our last report.
Well, part of
where we did
our
simplify
report
it.
from the committee should be this suggestion that we have the funds and we have the potential funds to create no disruption in the current budgeting and bring relief to the people of Taneytown at zero cost.
Okay.
May I go back to my report just for a moment?
Sure.
Yes. I'm using this budget from Don's report.
This was a
That-
proposed budget. It's the best I could do to get it on one page, so I didn't have to make so many
That,
copies.
Money budgeted for late water payments was $38,000.
They're up above that now. They're over 40,000. Robin, did you talk to somebody about the number? It's over 40,000 in the late
Yeah,
pay.
there's lots of reports, and the latest report was 46.
46, so we're over 38 now. The estimate, we're collecting a lot more late fees. That shows that people are struggling to pay the water bill. If this number went up from the estimate of 30 to 85, that's a great point you bring up. And now we're at 46, that means people are hurting. That means people are hurting because we're collecting all these water late
Go ahead,
payments and other. People, they need to listen to us.
The
And
Davenport report suggested 26,000 would come in from a late payment.
it's an old estimate.
I would like to suggest in my report that we only charge 5% instead of 10% for the late fee.
I would agree to that. We're not voting. I'd like to see that in the final report. The late fee is very offensive because you don't know what you owe until you get your water bill. You can't make monthly payments without paying a late fee. The 10% is onerous and painful and hurtful to families. And I would like to see it lowered to 5%
Okay.
also.
Okay?
The other towns don't charge 10%. 2%,
I understood. I
3%.
asked that question early on, and
I
I
remember talking
understand
about it.
that they do.
Yeah.
That's the reason they brought it up, so.
Yeah, that was discussed.
Okay. Anybody have anything that has not already been mentioned?
No, I just want to thank everybody for the work that you've put in over the last 2 months. I mean, a lot of this stuff isn't easy to research or to follow up on, and I think everybody has contributed greatly to this committee, and it's been a pleasure working with everybody. And I look forward to seeing everybody around.
Thank you.
Good. I appreciate the work you've done, Joe. All the typing and getting this together, hours and hours of time have been spent.
Well, thank you.
You're very good, Ryan.
Joe, do
Thank
you
you.
have
So
a
we're
copy of that
Thank
8
you.
points
It's very
that
good.
we're gonna present to the council?
That's what we're working on.
Unfortunately, it's
Okay.
my frustration.
Joe and I are working,
Yeah.
that will be the final report
Okay.
that you will be getting in the next few days
Okay.
to comment on. Okay?
All right.
Tom? Got
No,
anything
I
else?
think I've already said no.
Robin?
I'm good.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. That's it.
Today's the feast of St. Michael.
Oh, and your birthday.
Is Faye your birthday?
Happy birthday.
Happy
Birthday.